a Snapchat filter instead of a smile, emojis instead of emotions, and a smartphone instead of a real relationship. That's how the older generation portrays millennials. Older people tend to complain that youngsters are destroying everything they've built, and millennials are responding that they've been dealt a bad hand. But what are the actual differences between generations? Baby boomers, the generation that is usually portrayed as an old grandmother who calls you because she deleted the internet. Baby boomers were born somewhere between 1946 and 1964. Millennials, the generation that is pictured as living only for avocado toast and killing different industries in their free time. They were born between 1981 and 1996. Is there any truth to their stereotypes? Let's see how the economy has changed throughout the years. Even though millennials are the best educated group of adults in U.S. history, with 1/3 of older millennials having at least a bachelor's degree, from 1988 to 2018, the average cost of tuition for a 4-year public school has risen by more than 200%, and private schools have skyrocketed even more. So I guess you could say millennials and the even younger generations are in a bit of a pickle, to put it lightly. One big setback that both these generations have been through: the Great Recession. While it affected both groups, this moment in history occurred when millennials were just entering the workforce. The young invincibles compared the earnings of boomers and millennials at the same age, adjusted it to 2013 wages, and found that millennials earn about $10,000 less annually. All these changes transformed the way young people lived, their expectations, their workplaces, and their homes. In 2014, for the first time in more than 130 years, adults from 18 to 34 years old were more likely to be living in their parents' home than with a partner in their own household. But how do all these changes affect personality and values that define each generation? There is some truth in stating that values or priorities have shifted. For example, marriage has gone out of fashion. 57% of millennials have never been married, and the age that young people get married has shifted by 6 years during the last 40 years. Millennials are less religiously affiliated too. 13% less of them have a religious preference, comparing to baby boomers their age, and 30% less of millennials consider themselves patriotic. But the most common stereotypical image of a millennial and their values is a mobile memory packed with an infinite number of selfies. But is Generation Me really a lot more narcissistic than baby boomers? There was a study in a 2011 Perspectives on Psychological Science journal that might shatter this stereotype. The title says it is development me, not generation me, and that might just be the case. It's not really about being born after 1980. It's more about being young and then getting over yourself as you get older. It could very well be that we all belong to Generation Me when we are young, but somehow we tend to forget the rebellious or soul-searching time of our lives when we get older. As new technology enters our lives, it's starting to get harder and harder to understand our similarities, and you may feel that the gap between generations widens. But, as always, communication is the key. Not all baby boomers are lost when it comes to technology, and millennials actually understand English words, not only emojis. If you belong to any of these generations, feel free to discuss and get to know each other in the comments section. If you liked our video and want to keep seeing more of Bored Panda, click the subscribe button and ring the bell to get notified as soon as we upload new great content. Let's keep fighting boredom, not each other, one video at a time.